thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome, I hope you stay with me the whole time. I'm outside of the grocery store right now. I just need to pick up a few things. But if you know me, it's really just going to be a meat shop. I don't know why I decided to rent a car today to drive. It's the first day it's snowing in BC all year. And I decided to rent a car and risk my life on the highway. But I made it alive. Today's video will be a Q&A, mostly related to keto and carnivore as a hybrid athlete. And I gotta suit up, run inside and get some meat. Let's hop into the video. Alright, I almost didn't find you. Meat shop and toilet paper shop complete. Time to head home. Alright, so I'm going to go over some of the Q&As here, and then I'll go over the rest of the Q&As at the gym. I just am going to do a little bit of a bicep workout later in the day. So let's get started. So these I posted an Ask Me a Question on Instagram maybe last week. I'm not sure to be exact when it was. A lot of them were related to my diet, but that's pretty much all I post about is my diet and fitness. So let's get in. What do you do for electrolytes? For electrolytes, I just keep it simple. I use Redmond sea salt or Celtic sea salt, or Celtic, I'm pretty sure it's Celtic. And a bit of LMNT unflavored because I don't like stevia or anything, so I just stick with unflavored. I don't have too much salt because with some of my autoimmune stuff, if I have too much salt, then I get really bad pitting edema in my legs, which is not fun. What do you do for snacks while training? I don't typically eat snacks during training. If it's over an hour long of endurance, I will add something, whether it be Ketone IQ, which I'm sure you've heard me talk about lots, or I'll throw together a bit of molasses or maple syrup in with water, like dilute it down. I used to do coconut water like years back. I might start doing that again. I just kind of had it so much that I'm like sick of it now. But it has like good potassium and stuff, but molasses has very good potassium content. And sometimes I'll throw in some MCT oil in there. So mainly MCT oil, Ketone IQ, and some sort of quick digesting carb, maple syrup or molasses. I don't need to eat while I strength train. How long have you been on carnivore? 3 years, but I'm not strict carnivore. I'm more like cyclical keto carnivore. Usually keep it around 50 grams of carbs every day. Prioritize high fat meat. If I have lean meat, I add extra fat. I eat nose to tail, which means I eat a lot of beef organs or organ supplements. And that's just what works for me. What do you do for work? For work, I work off this thing most of the time, whether it be virtual personal training, personalized programming, nutrition coaching. I do personal training in person. Sometimes I'll do group classes. I will show you my gym that I personal train at later. I'll be going there. I did have a part-time job just on the side. Got rid of that and just focusing mostly on individual training plans, nutrition plans. So if you're interested, hit me up. My website is below. I've been in fitness and athletics my whole life, and I've had the last 5 years dedicated towards coaching and nutrition, fitness stuff. So don't be afraid to reach out. I'm happy to help. How old are you? 25, not 18. Thoughts on cholesterol from eggs? Okay. Research is so outdated. I find a lot of people are stuck in like the research from 20 years ago. The FDA just announced that eggs have no association with high cholesterol. It's good cholesterol. Our bodies need cholesterol in order to produce hormones and for brain health to function properly. Don't fear fat. If anything, fear processed sugars. Those two combined, that's when high cholesterol starts. Fat alone does not cause high cholesterol. Get that through your head right now. I'm not gonna get into it in much detail right now because that could be a video itself. Eggs do not cause high cholesterol. Eat the damn egg yolk. Do you see carnivore as a long-term diet? For me, no. Do I think carnivore could be long-term for other people? Definitely. If you're more sedentary, eat carnivore all you want. But if you are more athletic and you're expending a lot of energy, in my opinion, you're gonna need some carbs. I mean, you're not gonna need, but it's gonna benefit you. So right now, like I said, I'm at 50 grams of carbs. Once my training ramps up, I'm sure I will add more specifically during my training session because it's gonna get used right away. I definitely see animal-based as a long-term diet, which is pretty close to carnivore, except you're just consuming more of the low toxic fruits and maybe some simple sugars that actually have some benefits to them, like raw honey, molasses, maple syrup. They all have some micronutrients in there. But if you are doing higher intensity things, carbs are pretty beneficial. I know there's research right now that shows there's not much of a difference between keto athletes and high carb athletes. But I don't know, right now this is working for me just to heal some health stuff, and we'll just see how long I want to stay on specifically this low of carbohydrate. Do you eat pork? I do not eat pork. It makes me nauseous, and I do not feel like being up all night with sweats and chills and running to the toilet feeling like I need to barf. So no, I do not eat pork, only if it's a very, very lean pork chop. So to be correct, I don't eat pork fat. Except right after my ultra, they had a truck and they had bacon, and I was like, I just ran 50 miles. I just ran for 11 hours. Of course I'm getting bacon. Replenish the loss of sodium in hot Texas heat. All right, let's do a couple more here. Are you single? You bet I am. Have you ever struggled with disordered eating, binge eating, or restriction? Any advice? I feel like all of us, like everyone, has some sort of disordered eating. Whether you're overweight, you definitely have disordered eating. Whether you're underweight, sometimes you can have disordered eating, whether it's anorexia or food intolerances. Everybody has a little bit of something going on. I personally have never had anorexia. I've never had binge eating or purging. Sometimes the binge eating will come sporadically for me, but it's not binging like you think it is. I'll just have dinner and then I'll just feel like I need to eat more because I had an active day. So I'll kind of go a bit ham on eating more meat and fat, but that wouldn't even be really binge eating, because if your body's telling you to eat more meat and fat, then you have to listen to it. Whereas like if I'm binging on cookies, that's way different than binging on meat and fat. I know I'm low weight, but that is due to health issues, so I'm not anorexic. I do train a lot, but I try to eat enough to sustain my activity level. Any advice? I mean, if you have anorexia or if you struggle with, body image that way, I mean, it's hard because I'm not in your situation, but we've all kind of had that body image awareness, I'm sure. So just think long term, right? Like your body needs energy to survive. Like you need a minimum of around like 12 to 1300 calories a day just at rest for your body and organs to function. So if you're below that, just think about your body shutting down on you. And eventually, if you keep doing that, it's gonna lead to major starvation and deprivation, and then lead to more serious things like death. So just think at least you should be over that amount of fuel. And if you're moving, you need to add calories on top of that. I know some people like to be really small, but believe me, from our eyes, from our point of view, it does not look healthy, and it's pretty scary to see sometimes, and it's unfortunate. Like I'm definitely not as lean as I used to be, but when people are super lean, super lean, it's not healthy. It's really not. So I just hope that you realize that you need a minimum amount of calories every day just for your body alone to stay alive. Purging and binging, I mean, it's tough because I've never come close to any of that. Just eliminate processed foods if you can, because then your body will crave them less. It's hard in the beginning, but the less processed foods you have over a longer period of time, the less your body craves them, and the more your body craves healthy food. Let's do one more here, and then the rest will be at the gym. Do you/have you tracked macros? How long did it take to adjust from carbs to fat as fuel? I do track macros. I've tracked macros since 2017 when I was in high school and got really into fitness. And I've really only been doing that because since I train so much, I need to know I'm eating enough. It was never to lose weight. I've never tried to lose weight. If anything, I'm literally always trying to gain weight, but it's hard with some digestive issues that I have going on. How long did it take to adjust from carbs to fat as fuel? If I'm being totally honest, fully adapted, probably 1.5 to 2 years. Everybody's different. I felt better right away, but I was definitely tired right away. I felt flat right away. My muscles were just depleted, but now I feel totally fine. So just have patience. And if you don't think you can wait that long, then you might just have to add some carbs in your diet and then slowly reduce them over time. So that's a start. Off to the gym soon, and I'll finish the rest there. And we'll do some biceps. Catch you at the gym. All right, how much do you train a day? Maybe about an hour in the morning, and then an hour to 75 minutes of strength at night. Never more than 2.5 hours right now a day, but all my sessions are split up into 2. So it's not always the same. Some mornings it's 45 minutes to an hour of cardio. At night it could be 30 minutes of strength, or it could be up to an hour. There's no real set amount of time in a day I train. Carbs from eggs and some meat should be kept under a max number of grams per day. If I'm being totally honest, it might be a little bit harsh, but if you're stressing about that, there's a bit of a problem. Like you can't worry about the 0.0 whatever grams of carbs in eggs and meats. If you're trying to get 0 carb, then you probably are gonna die because there's minimal carbs in absolute everything. So don't worry about carbs in meats and eggs. That's a recipe for a disaster if you're stressing about that. What's your favorite cut of meat? Easy. Ribeye. But I've recently discovered short ribs, and those things cooked low and slow in the oven. Tough one. But I actually just love ground beef, fatty ground beef. It's probably my favorite cut. I wouldn't be able to eat ribeyes every day if I'm being honest. I honestly never use these bars, but I'm trying to stay in this little room to be out of people's way. Pretty light. Just Just gonna throw some weight on and go from there. Okay, so how do I balance endurance and strength training? I usually do my endurance in the morning. I just find I do better with more of an empty stomach. And then strength training for me is better at night because then I get more food into me and I feel a bit stronger. Just try to be strategic with it. I don't want to use too much of the same body part on one day. I don't want to do like a super hard leg workout the day before like a long run or bike. So I just try to be strategic in my strength training. I'm not going as hard and heavy as I used to because I am biking and swimming so much, and it's kind of hard to make improvements in swimming when you're sore because then your technique kind of suffers. So that is why I split the sessions up into 2 and just make sure I'm being smart with it in terms of not using the same body part day after day after day and fatiguing it too much to the point where I have diminishing returns. How do I get vitamin C? I mean, contrary to popular belief, there's actually a lot of vitamin C in meat and then also in organ meats. So that's how I get my vitamin C. Do I consume dairy? I don't consume it regularly, and if I do, it's either from water buffalo or goat. I used to have raw goat milk because there's a place to get it here on the island, but I just got really sick of the goaty taste and it just throws me off. So the only really dairy I'll have is a little bit of buffalo yogurt, grass-fed, and Pecorino Romano, which is, you can get that raw pretty easily. It's like a hard cheese. It's similar to Parmesan, but it's made of goat. Buffalo and goat don't have A1 casein. A1 casein is harder to digest, which is found in cows. So goat and water buffalo, they're A2 casein, which means that's a casein that's a little bit more easier to digest for a lot of people. A2 casein is also found in sheep. I'm sure there's other ones too. I just can't think of it right now. Would you ever go vegan? No. And if you are vegan, if you're thriving, keep eating that way. But I'm thriving eating meat, so I'm just gonna keep it at that. We're all unique, and some people really believe in the style of diet that they're on. I believe in my style of diet that I'm on. They believe in theirs. And I'm not gonna have an argument over it. Would you ever experiment with high carb? I don't know how high is high, but I think the max I would probably see myself going in the future would be 200 grams, and that would be like Ironman prep, and probably like 2 or 3 years down the road. I honestly can't even see myself having 150 grams. I don't know. I can't really answer that because I just take it day by day, and if my body needs carbs, my body's gonna kind of tell me. Do I take vitamins? I take magnesium, vitamin B, like the methylated version. I take some zinc. I take some vitamin K2 and D3. And then most of my multivitamins are the beef organ supplements I use from Higher Healths. They're based out of Alberta. And digestive enzymes. So that's pretty much it for vitamins. You get a lot of vitamins from meat. They're the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. So that's how I get all my vitamins. Have I experienced hair loss on carnivore? Does it look like I've experienced hair loss? No, I have really thin hair to begin with. Always have. Probably always will. Hair loss, nothing more than the usual person does. No, nothing drastic. Nobody can get rid of these horns. These horns aren't going anywhere. What do I eat before training? If it's in the morning, I usually just have like a ketone IQ with some coconut oil and some MCT oil if I'm swimming or biking or running. If I'm doing strength, I have a protein shake from Equip Foods, unflavored, and I'll add some MCT oil in there. Nothing too heavy in my stomach. If it's in the afternoon, usually before, I'll have something maybe like the Jello I make, some beef tallow or some ground beef, little bits of things thrown together. It's not always the exact same for the afternoon training session because I'm not always working out at the same time. But in the mornings, it's always the same. Nothing too big. Just finished with 100 push-ups. Got one more question. Are you in college? Any tips for balancing school and long trainings? So when I was in university, I sometimes trained 3 times a day. I would wake up very early before class. I would sometimes get a 30-minute workout in between classes at the university gym. And then usually I would be there pretty late at night getting in a session. I was totally obsessed with CrossFit. So I don't recommend 3 all the time. Right now, I'm doing a little bit of online school. If I have some tips for you, it's really just to segment your days. Prioritize movement because for me personally, I think better when I've moved. So if I can't really focus for more than like 45 minutes to an hour until I need to move, so schedule breaks, whether it be, you know, do an hour and a half of schoolwork, maybe get in your hour bike ride and just go back and forth. If you have classes, you might just have to get up a little bit earlier. Just try not to waste your time, right? For me as well, if I'm in a bit of a crunch and on a deadline, I work a little bit better. So I'll get my training session in and then I just like power through the work and get it done. So just really time management. Honestly, it just comes down to that and just fitting it in whenever you can if you are very, very busy with school. So that is all for the Q&A. You probably learned a little bit more about me. I hope I answered your question that you asked me. If you have any more questions, let me know down below. And that's about it. Thank you for watching and I will see you next week. See you next video. See you whenever you want to see me. Break up with your boyfriend. Yeah, like I do. I know I ain't right, but I don't care. What you looking at? Can't a lady just sing while she drives? Break up with your girlfriend. It's a boyfriend.